Hi everyone, I honestly don't even know where to start this video. So, you know that we have been covering the imallexx allegations that have been all over social media with his ex Alice speaking out. We know of the Google Doc, the Google Drive doc. We've went through it. We went through the audio clip. We've went through the videos. We've went through, the text messages, and it's horrible and a lot to process, obviously. I go on Twitter today and I'm just seeing so much happening. There are now other exes of imallexx speaking out, and there's two, and I'm gonna be like completely transparent with y'all right now. I tweeted this and I was like, can someone point me in the direction of the two other exes that have spoken out, because I wanted to make sure that I had everything correct, right? So someone had sent me this person right here, I think called Annie, and they have done a Google Doc as well, speaking about their experience with imallexx right here. However, a lot of people have been replying to it, and this is where I need your, take and your help. Sorry. People are saying, LMAO, you helped spread those Slazo allegations. Don't try to slink out of that. You heard a rumor and went with it. Take accountability for what happened. You were co-signing false stories. And then people are sharing this tweet where this person said, innocent people don't stay quiet for too long. People are basically bringing up that this person was allegedly involved in a Slazo thing. Now, I'm going to be honest. I don't know what that is. I will look into it. But I'm not just ignoring this story from this person. But I want to focus on this one for right now, from this person called Jess, who actually spoke up against Alex 4 years ago for the first time and is now speaking up again. And I want to focus on this story for the time being because with the other person, there's so much to do with this person called Slazo, who I think was accused falsely of SA or something like that by imallexx. Don't quote me, I don't know. I've just been seeing things in my comment section. As you're aware, I'm not on the imallexx, and all that scene is not normally on my radar of content that I watch. However, I always want to be a voice here for victims, and I want to platform their stories. I think it's very important to do, and I want to do that with my platform. In terms of the other thing, I want to look into the Slazo story before I cover Annie's story. So if you have any takes or any further information, or you can drive me in the right direction, please comment that down below. I want to read this one from Jess, though, and I can't believe that this person spoke out in 2020. This person, Jess, spoke out in 2020. Oh my God, from Newcastle. My friend Rachel's from there. So they had done this tweet 2020, and then there's this new one from yesterday, and Alice has responded saying, I'm so proud of you, and, everyone is basically saying that, we're really proud of you for speaking up, sending love. So I also want to send love to this person. I just want to read this. I just can't believe that there are, there's just so many people speaking up against him now, and it's there's just the self-proclaimed nice boy of YouTube is just so evil. Anyways, let's read this. From Jess Carter, trigger warning, mental, emotional abuse, and depression side. Now the year's coming to an end, I want to get something off my mind and have a little bit of closure. Again, from December 26th, 2020. This has been up for 4 years. Specify names won't be or specific names, won't be mentioned, but most can assume. And then, obviously, from yesterday, we have it now clarifying this is about Alex with a little bit more information. Whoever is currently in a relationship where your partner is heavily one-sided, guilt trips you, or puts you down, please get out. I know it's hard to think of wanting to leave, but I can assure you it's for the best. The start of my last relationship was everything I'd wanted at the time. I was already living my best life, so things were only improving. The guy was super lovely and sweet to me, always cared and went the extra mile. But something changed not long into the relationship. It was like he was keeping things away from me, which is obvious you would tell your partner. I would have in that situation. There came a time his ex came back into the picture, and like anyone, I felt a horrible gut feeling. When they met up, she ended up going to his flat and went out clubbing with him and some of his mates. all of which I already had to find out through social media. Nothing from him. I'd already made it apparent it made me uncomfortable, them two being together, but his response when I wasn't happy was I didn't think it was a big deal and I have to be friends with her for work. Anything I'd say, I was met with an excuse. No, sorry, I'll tell you next time or anything. So I just had to push how I felt aside and watch them on calls every night and talk all the time. Shortly afterwards, he broke up with me as he was planning on moving elsewhere, and he said the last 6 months were the worst of his life and how nothing good has happened. I was devastated and spent countless nights crying to myself and crying myself to sleep because at the time I genuinely loved this guy and I would have done anything for him, and it hurt that I couldn't make him happy. I made one tweet during this breakup that I saw a good-looking guy in the gym, and he flips out at me saying that I'm a liar for telling him I'd wait for him and would only like him, and he doesn't ever want to be with me again. I broke down at work. So basically, this person tweeted that they saw a good-looking person, and he's arguing with, and now imallexx is arguing with her, even though he was literally meeting up with his ex. Okay. I broke down at work, crying on the phone to him, trying to apologize and say how genuine I was when I said I'd happily wait for him. All I did was make a tweet about someone being attractive. Eventually, he agreed to let me come and see him, and we started back up again. And he said he was sorry for getting angry because he just missed me, I guess. He never moved in the end, so I'm glad I had to experience those awful nights wondering why I wasn't good enough anymore for a reason. One night, he went out and left his laptop with me. I looked through some messages, and he was a lot closer with his ex than he let on. He would tell her his problems, but to me, he didn't want to drag me down or get me involved. He'd also message a girl complimenting her ass, but me tweeting that someone was attractive was the end of the world. I never mentioned this to him because I knew it would just cause an argument. So basically, every ex is just walking on eggshells around him. I could never win with him. As time went on, anything that bothered me, I'd tell him, and I would just be met with a load of messages that started with and basically, I'm too busy, I don't have time for this, I'm not happy, I've got other things to work on, because he's a big, famous YouTuber. The list goes on. He would always get angry at me for saying my feelings. Looking at him, he's not a scary person, but behind the scenes, he scared me when he was angry. At this point, my feelings pretty much felt invalid, and I knew I couldn't tell anything to him. I still did, though. Whenever he'd upset me, I'd tell him, and was met with the same response. Countless times, he'd reverse the situation and play the victim, which we've heard in voice memos from Alice. To which I'd stop being upset, and I would feel sympathy for him. I was always there for him with advice and help, but he was never there for me. One time he told me he was feeling really down, so I drove 3 hours in the middle of the night to see him. When I told him I was down, I got met with something like, well, I'm working. For my 22nd, it seems like he always wants the effort to be made towards him, but never making an effort, and is always actually the worst in return. For my 22nd, I spent the majority of my birthday alone watching TWD, as he was in bed all day, but I can't be upset at that because his excuse was that he was depressed. I picked out flowers as a present for him, and he bought me some Jaffa cakes, which is literally just like a biscuit, which I later got told they were meant for the both of us. I'm not one to compare gifts, as I love to give, but I took this guy to a 5-star hotel for his 21st, and he couldn't even organize something nice for us to do on mine. There's situations where he's been pure evil, telling me he hates my friends, which we heard from Alice, he also said to her, during an argument about how I felt uncomfortable being sat next to a male Uber driver who was touching himself at times and kept staring at me and my friends, were simply saying they wouldn't let me sit in the front period. He sat in the back just so he could talk to his friend, and I just became invisible. He blamed me for not telling him sooner. However, if he had paid attention to me as a person, he would have known I have social anxiety and find confrontation, especially that kind, really difficult to deal with. He told me he hates fat people, then went on to jokingly call me fat when he knew I wasn't happy with my weight. I feel lucky that my depression doesn't get in the way of making others happy. No matter how bad I get, I can always make sure that others are okay. Now I know not everyone has that same mindset. He struggled with his own mental health issues. He broke up with me on Valentine's Day this year after I sent him a text saying it doesn't feel like he appreciates or loves me anymore, and which he then blames me for breaking up with him, which I didn't. He gave me excuses on why he couldn't do this anymore. Again, I'm too busy, I'm working, etc. I even booked time off just to spend it with him, told him the dates, and he never bothered to arrange to even see me. Again, too busy for me. But he told me he wasn't going to go out for drinks with a friend. However, that translates to just going to Asda. So he had a go at me saying I don't allow him to go shopping with his mates. What triggered the message was him saying he was going out for drinks after saying he has no time for me. And the fact that I had to see his friends with their girlfriends and seeing them make time for each other hurt me like hell. His excuse for that was that they do that because they aren't as passionate about their jobs as he is. He's a commentary YouTuber who makes videos on JoJo Siwa. He makes the lowest tier content. And I know that because I also make the same content. We are the bottom of the barrel, babe. God, I hate him. They aren't as passionate about their job as he is, so they waste their time. He never came to see me because that took too many days away where he could have been working instead. This made me feel like I didn't deserve his time or even worth his time. Going on from Valentine's Day, I was obviously upset it was over, but I was able to manage it pretty easily at first. I'd try and talk to him, but he'd barely respond. It wasn't until COVID hit that my own mental health crumbled more and I had to watch people die every day. This is when I really needed him to be around. Not that he was ever there anyway. It got to a point where I sat in my car on the verge of ending it when I needed someone to talk to. I called him and in the end he turned his phone off and didn't answer because he couldn't be bothered to talk to me for days after I was having a breakdown every day and I just wanted to talk to him. I still struggle to understand why he broke up with me, as the only thing he changed in his life was getting rid of me. He didn't get rid of anyone else. Apparently getting rid of me was supposed to make his life better, yet his friends were the ones that got under his skin, and they're still around to this day. Eventually he blocked my number, but I would see him on social media talking to anyone and anyone. And then they say, an extra for this one, he told me off for telling my friends how he made me feel, as they didn't need to know. He doesn't tell his mates, so why should I? I couldn't go to him, and I'm not allowed to go to his friends either. Calling random girls he'd never talked about before, and when I pointed out that he can talk to them but not me, he kicked off saying that's basically me trying to tell him he can't have friends. All I wanted to know was, why am I not allowed the time of day but his other new girls are? He'd be more than happy to talk about her mental state, but not mine. Anything I would bring up after the breakup, I was yet again met with, well, I'm depressed and I'm busy and I can do what I want and I don't need this. For someone who would constantly remind me he had depression and used it over against me so many times, he never took my mental state into consideration. I could have gone to a certain person about this situation, but he threatened me saying if I went to said person, I'd have no chance of ever being with him again. Well, now I don't want to be with him again, and I don't see why people can't know now. The only leverage he has now is gone, basically about this person revealing all of this. This guy made me feel completely worthless, self-conscious, and gave me a lack of trust in people that it's taken me back with how much my current partner is understanding and willing to help me overcome my depression. He's literally having to deal with the damage that my ex caused. There's so much to it that I could go on for page after page, but these are the main points that stick out to me right now. No doubt if he catches wind of this, I'll get accused of lying or he'll shout at me like he used to. I told him he was mentally abusive and he said, don't go throwing that around. I'd like to have full closure on our relationship, but I know he'll never admit to how selfish and cruel he was, so this is all I can do. I have a lot of friends who have seen texts and heard voice memos from him, and don't worry, they don't like you either, and we'll back this. My gosh. Alright, and then this person responded yesterday to their post from 4 years ago and said this. From November 2018 to February 2020, I was in an on and off again relationship with Alex. As everyone else seems to experience, the first few months up to a year were what you would expect with a brand new relationship. I can't speak much now as 4 years later I've suppressed those memories and don't tend to think back on that time. I'd made a statement in 2020 for my own personal closure and didn't expect it to go anywhere but just exist. I really wanted to reach out to someone, but I knew I didn't really have the evidence because I deleted our messages to try and get over the breakup. I've included my original statement alongside a Facebook message between Alex and my friend during an insomnia event where he thought I wasn't in our hotel room. He left to go see Slazo before the accusations, and I had woken up to banging at the door to said friend showing me this message and saying Alex was looking for me. I was in the bed next to him, he just hadn't bothered to look. When confronted, he laughed about it, and I told him to never say that about me again. While I'm thankful I'm now in a position where my current partner has helped me heal through the damage Alex caused me, my heart breaks for Alice having gone through so much worse and dealing with the consequences. She deserves nothing but peace and happiness here on out. Nothing she has done will justify his actions towards her. And then this is the message when she was right beside him. Yo, where's Jess? FFS. I'm very angry. I'm at the bar. I'm going to kick her head in. Now I'm locked out. I might kill her. I just might actually kill her. And then an audio call. He really loves to threaten violence on his partners, doesn't he? We have him, well, I'm going to bash your head against a fucking wall or a brick or something like that. And now we have, I'm going to kick her head in. I'm locked out. I might actually kill her. That's now 2 exes in a row where he has threatened violence on them. And the exes are speaking up about him being verbally abusive. Dude, he's evil. He's evil. Really, really, really evil. I really can't believe it. I really can't believe it. Listen, I want to send Jess, this is her Twitter. I want to send Jess so much love. I wanted to read this because this has been out there since 2020. And it's incredibly unfortunate that it took 4 years for Jess to be able to say who that was out of fear of what Alex has done to these people. It's not right at all. Well, I don't even know what to say, and I can't believe there's another one after this as well. It's like, I don't know. Well, Jess, just know that me and my community have your back, and we're so sorry you've gone through this, and I hope in being able to say his name, now like 4 years later, it has provided you even with a tiny bit of closure that unfortunately people like him will never give. All right, muckers. I will see you in my next one. I hope you're all doing well. Stay safe. Goodbye.